We have two teams hungry for a win to close out day 6 of week 2 of the return of Philippine volleyball. Coming to you from the PCV Social, Civic, and Cultural Center in Bacara, Ilocos Norte. Anthony Sutay here together with Neil Flores. This is One Sports exclusive coverage of the Premier Volleyball League Open Conference. You're watching the first professional volleyball league in the Philippines on One Sports and One Sports Plus. Neil, we got a good one. PLDT up against Black Mamba Army, two teams desperately wanting to get a win.
It has been a tough season for PLDT, but now that most of the pressure has been lifted off their shoulders, I feel that we will be expecting a more forceful team to break in to that win column. Meanwhile, for Black Mamba Army, they still need to win all of their remaining games so that they can increase the possibility of moving forward in the competition. Now let's take a look at our current team standings after that master class against Bali Pure yesterday. Creamline still continues to hold that number 1 position with a 5-0 record, followed by Choco Mucho, Cherry Tigo, and Petrogas. Now for the Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers, they're currently at 7th place with a 1-3 scorecard, while for PLDT, they're still looking for that elusive first win in this competition.
Well, a lot of fans like watching the top teams. I like covering the teams in the bottom because you see that desperation. They need to be able to crawl their way out, and that's where you can see possibly sometimes a lot of great volleyball. Right now, let's take a look at the previous game of PLDT. Unfortunately for them, another loss. They did come up with a 25-20 win in the second set, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to be able to pull through with a victory.
Yes, it was a sluggish start again for PLDT as they easily gave up that first set, 25-12. But in that second set, they successfully challenged the Petrogas Angels. Unfortunately, they weren't able to regain enough momentum when the Gas Angels solidified their net defense and attacking to close that match in 4 sets.
If you look at it, lumaban naman sila eh. 25-21, 25-20 in third and fourth set. So, it's just really that last finishing kick. Doon sila nagkukulang.
And if you take a look at the previous matches of PLDT, they can really put the offense to work. They have good defense as well. Yun nga lang, nagkakaroon ng kakulangan sa panapos.
Well, one of their bright spots is Rhea Di Maculangan. She is solid as far as setting is concerned. One of the best setters we have in the country today.
Right now, she's still continuing to find ways to set up her teammates despite not always having the first touches to work with. And kahit na 0-5 yung kupunan niya ngayon, she's currently the 4th best setter in our league with an average of 6 excellent sets per set. So I think it's very fitting that you can really call her PLDT's lifeline. But one big takeaway for me in that loss against Petrogas was the continued emergence of Chin Basas. She scored 10 points off the bench. Kaya naman, I'm expecting her to maybe start out this match for PLDT.
And right now, Aitin Sai had a chance to talk to Chin Chin Basas, and here is their conversation.
Chinchin, ano yung pinakamalaking lesson na natutunan mo over the past few months with your new team?
Magtiwala lang sa sarili. Kasi kung wala ka nun, parang hindi ka makakalaro ng maayos. Tapos parang natatakot ka na magkamali. Tapos magtiwala lang din sa sasabihin ng mga coaches.
Gaano nakaka-motivate sa team yung tiwala na binibigay sa inyo ni Coach Roger? Gaano yun nakakataas ng moral?
Ilaro lang namin kung ano yung laro talaga namin. Tapos kahit anong mangyari, paluin lang talaga namin yung bola. Tapos ihingi lang namin kay Aterea para mag-usap-usap lang kami as a team.
Chinchin Basas of the PLDT Home Fiber Power Hitters.
There she is, looking to be able to pick up from where she left off the last time out. But let's talk about the other squad now. And when you talk about Black Mamba Army, also they had some, shall we say, moments of brilliance, but just no finishing kick as well.
Yes, what's good about the Lady Troopers naman is that they can keep most of the sets close with their opponents. In that first set, they actually led 23-21 before Santa Lucia came from behind through the offense of Aiza Maizo Pontillas. And in that third set, they won that to extend the match. But in the fourth frame, they allowed Santa Lucia to snap out of their losing streak with their unforced errors.
Well, for you and me, suddenly the resurgence here of Ging Balse Pabayo really helped them, especially in that set that they were able to win. And we're hoping that she's able to come up with back-to-back good games for her squad, so at least they can come up with a victory here today.
She started that game in the starting lineup and she had 13 points of 8 attacks, 4 blocks, and 1 service ace, showing Santa Lucia's young middle blockers how it should be done. And Army has been lucky to have a resurgent Balse Pabayo back in their fold, but they need more consistent offense if they want to win this game against PLDT.
Well, one player can't do it all, but right now, I had a chance to talk to Ging.
Ging, kamusta yung moral ng team ngayong pangalawang linggo na ng liga?
More on preparation talaga kami. Kung ano pa yung pinag-usapan namin na kung ano pa yung kinaganda sa game namin at saka yun, focus kami doon sa ano pa yung kaya naming i-ano doon sa game namin na parang hindi na talaga kami pwedeng mag-relax. Kailangan na talaga kami lumaban pa kasi nga medyo ano na kami ngayon hindi naman sa low moral pero kailangan talaga namin bumawi sa upcoming games namin. Kaya kailangan talaga namin manalo.
Okay. And aside from making the semis, syempre yun naman talaga yung ultimate goal ng Army Lady Troopers. Ano pa yung ibang mga goal ng Army for the rest of the competition? Ano yung mga gusto nyong i-prove para sa fans nyo, para sa mga supporters nyo?
Siguro sa amin, ando naman yung suporta nila sa amin, as in 100% yung suporta ng Army. Sa amin na lang sa team, kailangan naming pakita sa kanila yung tiwala nila nga kaya naming pumasok sa semis. Pero bago namin makuha yun, kailangan naming kumbaga tiyaga muna sa training and focus lang kami sa kung ano pang kulang namin. Tsaka andun naman yung mga coaches namin na tumutulong sa amin kung ano pa yung pagkukulang na bawat isa. And then lahat naman kami is prepare. Siguro andun lang yung kulang pa yung kumbaga tibay ng kaya kailangan talaga sa game talaga or andun talaga yung
Ibay
pusong
na
palaban. Oo.
Pusong palaban. Ang ganda nun.
Yes.
Yun. There you have it, Ging Balse Pabayo, the Army Lady Troopers.
Neil, how important is it for a lot of these young players to not just have a veteran presence in your lineup, but someone which is of legendary status, such as Ging?
Sobrang importante kasi you know that the veterans will be performing in every match. Kagaya nga in their previous game, Balse Pabayo had 13 points. Royce Tubino also had 13 points. Jovelyn Gonzaga was a little bit quiet. She had 11 points production in that previous game. But in this match, I'm looking for more production dun sa mga younger players like Esguera and Francisco who managed to team up with 6 points.
When you look at Gonzaga's effort the last time out, you and I did that game. Defensively, she was superb. But offensively, medyo dun lang siya nagkulang. But at the same time, you can't have one person doing everything for the squad.
And knowing the capabilities of Jovelyn Gonzaga, I'm sure she will bounce back offensively in this match against PLDT.
Well, as you're mentioning, kailangan din, syempre, yung mga ibang players mag-step up din. Pero doon naman sa kabilang panig, who do you think on the other side needs to step up? Because you know what? People keep saying that the hardest win to get is the very first one.
That's correct. In the past games of PLDT, we've been mentioning the names of their wing spikers a lot. Elisoyud, Isa Molde, Chin Basas, but the missing link talaga for me would be their middle blockers. And in their last game, Gabarda had a good game with 8 points. If she can produce more numbers for PLDT, they might just get their first win in this conference.
Well, I followed Gabarda when she was playing in college, and she showed a lot of promise. As you can see, slowly but surely, her body's starting to develop. And we're hoping that that overall game that people are expecting of her really comes up as as soon as it possibly can because PLDT really needs help right now.
And as you said, it should always be a team effort. You cannot really look at one person to provide all the numbers for your team. So again, I would be looking for the services of the middles of PLDT because for Rhea Di Maculangan, this is actually uncharted territory for her. She's used to winning games, a lot of championships, and her leadership will play a big role. On your screen, you see Villegas, isa pa yan sa mga kailangan mag-step up for the team of Coach Roger Gorayev.
And there's Ray on your screens. Sometimes, as you see, frustration might start to set in because as you said, sanay siya sa ibang level eh. Pero ngayon, all of a sudden, here she is with a young team, a developing team, and that's something that she's not really used to doing. We now have our officials at yung mga players po natin para sa ating game here tonight.
Second referee is Joy De Imus. And now let's meet the starters. First, for the Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers. Middle blocker from Arellano University, number 2, Ann Esguera. Outside spiker from the University of Santo Tomas, number 5, King Balse Pabayo. Center also from UST, number 7, Jane Gonzalez. Opposite hitter from Central Philippines University, number 8, team captain Jovelyn Gonzaga. Outside spiker from the University of Perpetual Health, number 15, Royce Tubino. Middle blocker from Faith Academy, Batangas, number 16, Luke Malaluan. Starting libero from Rizal Technological University, number 10, Angela Nunag. Head coach for the Lady Troopers is Kung Fu Emilio Reyes Jr. And now the starters for the PLDT Home Fiber Power Hitters. Outside spiker from the University of the Philippines, number 1, Isa Molde. Middle blocker from the University of the East, number 2, Yeye Gabarda. Opposite hitter from the Far Eastern University, number 10, Chinchin Basas. Center from the University of Santo Tomas, number 12, team captain Rhea Di Maculangan. Outside spiker from the National University, number 14, Jarrell.
We now have the starting lineup. We start out with Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers, Gonzalez, Gonzaga, Balse Pabayo, Tubino, Esguera, Malaluan, and Nunag. For the PLDT Home Fiber, the power hitter starting out with Molde, Gabarda, Basas, Singh, Villegas, Di Maculangan, and Eroa.
As expected, yung mga magagandang performance in their previous game now are starters for their respective teams.
Well, I guess from a coach's standpoint, you want to be able to bring in players that you feel are in the groove.
Yes, it's very important to identify the best lineup going into every match. For Army, I feel that this is the first time that they'll be utilizing Malaluan in the middle. So Ging Balse Pabayo will be playing in the outside possession.
When she was playing mostly in the middle when you and I did their previous game.
That's correct. Para naman sa PLDT, Chin Basas will be starting out and Gabarda will be manning the defense for PLDT Home Fiber.
Nice dig to start out their play. Singh. Back to Jarrell, sends that a little bit long. But they're going to say, yes, it was a touch.
She asked for the check ball and it was given to her.
So let's remove the 1 point there from Black Mamba and give it to PLDT. 2-0 is our tally here. Malaluan. Got to get involved in the offense early. Malaluan again, that time denied.
It's a good thing for Gonzalez to actively engage her middle attackers at this early junction of the ball game, but the coverage wasn't present for Black Mamba Army. This is a strong start for PLDT Home Fiber. Let's make that a 4-0 lead for the power hitters.
And this, I think, is what Coach Roger Gorayev envisioned for this squad. It's a team for the future, but at the same time, if they can pick up a few wins here and then, why not?
I feel like ngayon, they're already building their confidence towards the succeeding conferences pa ng PVL. And again, you still have matches to play, and if you can manage to get those, that will be a huge confidence booster for the ladies in red.
And so far, it is 6-0. Quick timeout going to be called here by Coach Kung Fu.
This spike of the set is brought to you by Duncan, courtesy of Jorel Singh, getting the point for PLDT.
5-0. Still to get on the board is Black Mamba Army. Can they get it here? Yes, they can.
Smart move by Royce Tubino. She saw the established triple block, if I'm not mistaken, going through that pocket.
Back to Singh. Cut shot there. Babayo sends it long.
They seem a little bit too timid talking about Black Mamba Army, just basing it off that timeout. Coach Kung Fu is looking for more intensity dito sa kanyang kupunan.
Why would you say that happens? Because you know that Black Mamba needs this win.
Siguro maganda din kasi yung pinapakitang opensa nitong PLDT, and they've been giving a lot of heavy serves early on in this game.
That's going to be another score here for PLDT. And they're just all over Black Mamba here.
Like what I said off the coverage, when you don't have so much pressure already on your shoulders, you can perform a little bit more relaxed while enjoying the game still.
This is the performance Coach Roger was saying, I wanted you to have since game number 1. But I guess the players are saying, Coach, better later than never. Opportunity here. And Gabardo scores. And that's going to bring us to our first technical timeout here. PLDT Fiber with a dream start. They're up 8-1. Welcome back to our coverage here of the Premier Volleyball League. Welcome back now to our coverage. It's 8-1 PLDT Fiber on top, and on top big. Finally, Jovelyn Gonzaga will pick up a point here and help out the cause of Black Mamba Army.
That's a good hit. You have to try different strategies to get through the blockers of PLDT. Sometimes you would go for that power hit, sometimes you would go for that off the block. to keep them guessing.
Malaluan now inserted into the starting lineup. Quick play once again to Gabarda.
2 for 2 for Yeye Gabarda. And maybe this has been the hidden gem of PLDT in the past few games. Now, Rhea de Macolangan recognizing that Gabarda is a capable attacker in the middle.
Now Rhea with the serve. Always one of the best servers. That's gonna work for Jovelyn there. Finding that crease.
Chinbasa's caught off guard. He wasn't in the right position. Usually before you backpedal to your original position, you would anticipate for softer touches. But she was just too late for that one. Now Jovelyn Gonzaga is quite active offensively for Black Mamba Army.
I think she heard you. She had a very quiet night a few days earlier. Esguerra now, another one of the players you mentioned, Neil, who needs to really step up.
Coming off a 4-point performance, she gets her first point of this match.
Rhea thought that was going to go out. Nice stretch by Eroa. That's long. And here
Clearly.
comes that rally for the Army.
Clearly a miss hit on the side of Chin Basas. Mistiming that flick of the wrist. But they're still up by 4 points.
But now you have a look of concern on Coach Rogers' face. That's what happens with a young squad is urong-sulong sila paminsan.
And when you have a good lead against a veteran team, against Black Mamba Army, you cannot give them that golden opportunity to climb back up.
And now, from an 8-1 advantage, a 7-point lead, that lead is just down to 3. Let's see if that timeout's going to work here for PLDT. Nice dig there. And Gabarda's going to score her third point.
3 for 3. 100% efficiency para kay Yeye Gabarda. And if she continues to perform like this, hindi ako magugulat if they finally manage to get their first win in this conference.
That 4-point lead isn't safe against Army. Nice stretch from Eroa. Keep that alive. Smart hitting once again, that time from Tubino. And she's on the board.
That's the third soft touch that PLDT gave up. And yun din yung naging focus ni Coach Roger dun sa timeout na yun. Dalawang mahina ang pumatay sa depensa natin.
And sometimes that's just lack of effort. 38 years old, Ging Balse Pabayo, serving now.
Hindi dapat makalimutan ng PLDT that this is the same squad, talking about Black Mamba Army, who pushed Santa Lucia into 4 sets and the Creamline Cool Smasher to a 5-setter.
At yun na mas mabigat kung tutusin mo. Another mistake here. And that error on position will bring Black Mamba Army to within 2. After that last timeout from Coach Kung Fu, nagising na ang Army.
Black Mamba Army still has 5 games to play, including our match at hand. So if they can manage to rack up 5 wins, they can potentially enter our Final Four picture. But they still have to wait for the results of the other matches.
But at least take care of what you can control. more than anything else. And then, if it doesn't fall your way, wala ka na magagawa.
That's correct. You always have to do the best in every game. You treat it as your last.
That's kept alive. Molde's gonna first score her first point.
So far, it has been Molde and Gabarda leading the offense of PLDT. Now that Villegas is in the front line, hopefully she gets a couple of sets from Rhea de Maculangan para lang makuha niya yung groove niya.
Back up to 4, the lead. You can see the numbers of Gabarda. Tubino. That one just had too much beef behind that one.
Aside from Ging Balse Pabayo, alam naman natin kung gaano kalakas na attacker si Royce Tubino.
And if you forgot, that's a reminder right there. That's gonna drop.
Now everybody getting involved on the side of PLDT. Good ball distribution from Rhea de Maculangan. That's why she's the 4th best setter despite their win-loss card in this conference.
Good serve from Basas. Yan na naman si Tubino. She's starting to heat up, and that's going to be problems for PLDT.
Now PLDT is trying to utilize both of their liberos. That's also one new feature in volleyball today. You can use 2 liberos. Kadalasan, one would be the receiving end, and yung isa naman, digging libero.
PLDT up by 4 once again. Army trying to breach that gap. Tubino once again.
This time from the middle. And these are the combination plays that Black Mamba Army still has in their playbook na hindi pa natin masyado nakikita in their past performances.
That's right. The game you and I did a few days ago, parang bihira nga sila ng combination eh. Pero ngayon, maaga pa lang. First set, they go to it. That's key to a victory. You want to be able to make sure that the defense is always guessing. Looks like they were going to go to Malaluan. They went to Gonzaga.
That was another combination play, but Malaluan was just ready to guard the attack of Jorel Singh. They cut the lead down to 2.
Singh disappointed because she was expected to have at least some support there after that attack. It dropped to the ground. Ito na, breaching that 4-point mark, just down by 2 is Black Mamba Army.
As an outside spiker, you always expect the defense behind you para you can confidently attack or challenge the blockers of your opponent. But PLDT right now is keeping a safe distance against the Black Mamba Army at 3 points.
What an effort there from Jovelyn though to try to get that. Coming from all the way deep in zone 1. Umabot pa siya ron. Singh. Free ball here. Handled easy there.
Gabarda was in the way of Rhea de Maculangan. Buti na lang, it was an unforced error on the side of Black Mamba Army. You never get in the way of your setter for that second ball touch. But we enter the technical timeout, 16-12.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Premier Volleyball League. Anthony Suntay together with Neil Flores. It is a 4-point lead enjoyed by PLDT Home Fiber.
Joe Bunag will be replacing Ging Balsepabayo in that outside hitter position. I feel that Ging Balsepabayo is more comfortable in her natural position, which is yung middle blocker. So later on in the second set, maybe we get to see her in that same position. Tingnan natin kung ano yung magiging adjustments ni Coach Kung Fu.
Kasi sobrang ganda yung ginawa niya the last time out. One of the few times we've actually seen her start here this conference. Malaluan stretched out for that one. That's going to be out. The lead back down to 4. Malaluan serving, getting the nod today from Coach Kung Fu. Almost came up with an ace. Another combination.
Gonzalez saw that medyo magulo pa yung defensive pattern ng PLDT during that time. Made sure that Jovelyn Gonzaga had that low fast set in the middle to wipe it off the hands of Gabarda. This is also one advantage that PLDT can maximize. I feel that they have an advantage in terms of speed. I feel that youth is on their side, so if they can have a little bit more faster plays, mas marami pa silang puntos na makukuha.
Error is going to be called there on Black Mamba Army. That's a good point. Let's see if actually it plays a factor here sa kanilang laban. Jovelyn. Bunag. She saw that hole, took some off that shot.
Instant production for that substitution dito sa Black Mamba Army. Not the strongest of hits, but well placed.
Emnas in, Emnas with the serve. Combination of their own. Can they take advantage of this free ball? One of the longer rallies, and it goes to PLDT.
There was a lot of defensive touches in that sequence, but Jorel Singh just putting the right amount of effort for that outside hit. Natulungan pa siya nung tip of the death as that ball rolled down to that corner sa court ng Black Mamba Army.
Yun ang buenas.
5 points already of 4 attacks and 1 block. Now, Eli Soyud is in for the team of Coach Roger. Miscommunication on the side of Fen Emnas. Walang pumalo nun. And there's a net violation that will be called on Black Mamba Army.
Esquera can't believe it's on her. Pero sa kanya tinawag. 5-point lead enjoyed by PLDT now.
Sometimes kasi even the slightest of touches dyan sa net, hindi na namamalayan ng mga players.
We now have Aitin Sai in her report.
Former Lady Falcon and setter of the Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers, Fen M. Nas had a talk with me regarding the evolution of their decade-long league. Halos magsasampung taon na yung Army Lady Troopers and the veterans are still fired up in this court. But for this open conference, Fen shared to me how Coach Kung Fu is giving the veterans some resting time so that the juniors can level up their performance up a notch with more playing time inside the court. This is their way for preparing the younger members for the years to come. Ready to pass down the torch and see the Army Lady Troopers fuel it up against the fearless and towering PLDT home fiber power hitters.
That's a nice way to do it because the only way you'll be able to learn is you're given court time.
That's a lovely report from Ai Tinsay. 10 years na pala yung Army. Ngayon ko lang din na-realize.
Ang bilis na ng oras, ano?
And soon, they will be passing the torch to their youngsters. And right now, they're getting the playing time that they also deserve because we know that these are also skilled ladies.
And here comes the block party. Soyud contributing there with Gabarda.
Everything just working on the side of PLDT. From offense to defense, they've been digging really well. That's why it's not surprising that they have a commanding 7-point lead in our first set.
Very pleased, Coach Roger. And that's going to bring another smile to his face. His team now 2 points away from taking set number 1.
They know that one of the options of attack for Black Mamba Army is the back row hit from Royce Tubino. So if you can target her in the while you're in the service line, you take her out of that equation. Now Paran will be replacing Tubino. Perhaps a defensive substitution for Coach Kung Fu.
Bunag again will score. She likes that middle of the court.
They've scored 5 or 6 points unofficially off that same hit. PLDT still trying to find a remedy. Again, your first position should be in that off speed before you backpedal for a stronger hit.
That's why Coach Roger has been pulling his hair. That ace is going to help out Army and add to the woes of Coach Roger Gurayab.
They're tied with 11 attack points each, but it has been the defense of PLDT and the serving that has dictated this matchup so far.
Much better reception. Gonzaga tries to go down the line. It's going to go just out for Molde.
Black Mamba Army still trying to catch up. Now for PLDT, this is the time to close it out aggressively because you still want to gain momentum coming into that second frame. You can't afford to give life to a deadly Black Mamba Army.
I agree with you 100%. Now PLDT showing some chinks in their armor here.
Back-to-back unforced errors for PLDT.
Molde dug there by Bunag. Another good rally we have here. And again, scoring. Paran off the bench.
Ito yung sinasabi ni Ai that the young ones, when they are called, if they can perform, magandang senyales yan. This is the spike of the set brought to you by Duncan. Audrey Paran showing that she can also contribute to the cause of Black Mamba Army. Coach Roger just asking for one good receive so that they can finally end this first set. Kanina, malaki-laki yung kalamangan ng PLDT but they gave an opportunity dito sa Black Mamba Army para makahabol.
And now he senses trouble. Another chance here. But now, that is what Coach Roger is looking for. Another score for Gabarda. She's got 4 points.
Now Villegas will move into that front line. I think she has 1 point already. Looking to add more production for Coach Roger.
Took a while before PLDT got the set point. All they need is one. And they're going to take set number 1 here. Not the best of wind-ups to end up your first set. But in the end, first set pa rin mapupunta sa inyo. So PLD's got to be happy. They take set number 1, 25-20. Set 1 highlights right now is what we're witnessing.
Aside from the lapses in the digging pattern of PLDT, I would say that it was a pretty good performance in that first set. It wasn't just Molde yung nakakuha ng mga puntos. You would hear the names of Gabarda, Elisoyo, Jorel Singh, even Villegas had a fair share of the points in that first set.
And they got a bit of luck there with that net. As you break down the numbers here of set number 1.
Mas marami pa nga naitalang atake ang Black Mamba Army compared to PLDT, but it was the blocking that made its way to the top for PLDT. 4 blocks against the single one of Black Mamba Army.
Neil, the first set went to PLDT. They got off to a very good start, but not the best of finishes. Is that a point of concern here for Coach Roger?
Well, they've been committing a couple of unforced errors, lalo na nung tail end of that first set. And if you want to close out on Black Mamba Army as early as now, kailangan mo nang bawasan yan.
A lot of times, coaches want you to be able to start out strong, but finish even stronger. Asking for the touch. It's not going to be called. Black Mamba Army will pick up that first point here in set number 2. Gonzalez with a serve. PLDT trying to duplicate their good start. Get a point there. We're tied at 1.
It's their turn to use that soft touch to expose the donut hole in the defense of Black Mamba Army. Singh is currently the top scorer for the power hitters with 7, followed by Gabarda with 5. Coming off an 8-point performance, 5 puntos na yun, first set pa lang. And as expected, Tubino leading the charge for Black Mamba Army with 5 and Gonzaga with 3.
Well, Gabarda is repaying Coach Roger for bringing him to the starting 6, but there's Singh with a mistake.
Good intention. She saw another hole dun sa likod ng blockers ng Black Mamba Army. Wasn't the best execution.
Tubino, another strong start. Ang problema, parang medyo tumahimik siya dun sa kanilang latter part the previous game you and I did. And it was her lack of production that really did them in.
Yeah, I remember in that tail end of that match, she had a hard time punching through the back row on forced errors.
There's Villegas joining the scoring once again. Singh down the line, just runs out of real estate.
But she got a point off that zone 1 attack. She tried this time to change it up for that off-the-block hit. Unfortunately, walang tumama dun sa kamay ng mga blockers.
1-point lead by Army.
31 excellent digs for PLDT against the 20 of Black Mamba.
Singh, that's 4 touches.
Back-to-back errors for Jorel Singh. As an outside spiker, you have to expect a lot of broken plays to be given to you, lalo na kung hindi na kayang maset up yung middle hitters.
Another mistake here. That time on Ging.
Smart hit from Joanne Bunag, recognizing her advantage as the ball was closer to the antenna.
So now we're here in the second set. Coach Kung Fu going with another veteran in Bunag.
Now Gingbal Sipabayo is back in the middle.
Just can't let her go. Sayang yun.
That was too low for her. Or maybe her contact was a little bit low.
Quickly apologizes. Chola Alvarez is going to check in.
That's the thing about PLDT. They've been trying to find that perfect mix of players on the floor to give them their first win. But so far, they're looking good. They're just down by 1. But they have to start pulling away.
That's a great hit there. Look at that swing from Molde.
That's another spike of the set brought to you by Duncan Isa Molde. What a powerful hit from Isa Molde. And every time they get a point, ang maganda dito sa PLDT, they talk about it, kung ano yung adjustments na pwede nilang gawin. They talk to their setter. Hindi sila nahihiya sa atin nila na si Red Makulangan in asking for a different type of set pag medyo nahirapan silang paluin yung previous one.
One-point lead enjoyed now by Army. That's going to score there.
coming off the bench, now starting. So far, in all of the sets in this match, Shin Basas. Isa rin yan sa mga top scorers
Yes.
during her time in college.
She's a solid player, no question. Just look at this PLDT lineup. They are stacked if you really look at it. It's just a matter of them putting it all together.
That's correct. If they find that cohesion and connect their defense with their offense, the future is bright for this young squad.
Because even if you look at Chola Alvarez, I mean, she's shown flashes of brilliance. It's just that she just can't sustain that effort.
Just as you say that, they commit a reception error as we enter the technical timeout with Black Mamba leading by 2.